What's up, everybody? It's Lego Lover 117 coming back at you for another installment in my audio commentary series. This time around, we're taking a look at episode 2 of my Wooden Railway series, Trouble at Arlesdale. I mentioned last week something is very interesting about this episode, and I wasn't lying because this episode is the only episode in Remastered Season 1 that was completely original. This did not have an original version. This is a completely original script written by myself. Not that the others weren't original themselves, but this did not have a version that got remastered. So this technically isn't even a remastered episode. It's a completely original concept. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into Trouble at Arlesdale. We start off with a very classic series opening vibe with Thomas puffing along the line. There's 2006 Oliver, I think. Yeah, I think so. This shot right here, okay, I'm really proud of this shot because I was able to make Derek's eyes move while having video in the background. That was achieved with some very sophisticated photo techniques. That basically, that's a picture, or no, that's a video of Thomas moving and Derek's model. Then I screenshotted the Derek model, removed the face, made a facial expression on the removed face, put fake eyes on it, and then pasted the face onto Derek. The trick is I couldn't move Derek or else the face wouldn't have lined up right. I'm really proud of that. I'm surprised I didn't get more recognition in the comments of this episode, but I'm really proud of that shot.
Never been out to this station prior to today, and I've only heard about it from engines like Percy. Well, trust me, Thomas, they're real. How small are they? Smaller than narrow gauge. Possibly the smallest engines you'll ever
And we get some explanation from Toby about, hey, the small railway engines are small, because at this point in the series they haven't been introduced.
What odd-sounding engines, said Thomas. And he puffed away to try and find his way back to Knapford Station. All right, let's see. Which way did I come from again? Where's a GPS when you need one?
Where's a GPS when you need one? That's a good line. If you notice, that shot was a little bit slowed down because Thomas was moving too fast for the narration.
Names, as stated before, were Mike, Frank, and Bert. Frank is the oldest, and he's been working on the railway since it opened. Frank soon realized he couldn't handle the work on his own.
I needed some explanation on why Mike and Bert look different from each other, so I basically gave the explanation of Bert is a newer model of the same engine that Mike is. He's newer, more environmentally friendly, I guess you could say, because he's smaller. And of course, Frank is the oldest. He's been on the railway since it opened, so he's the one that's a stickler for the rules.
Collecting some more ballast wagons, and Bert is taking some passengers on the tour of the hills. Doesn't sound like that now.
And then there's Duck, of course.
Frank, I've got your ballast wagons. Oh, hey Toby. Hello, Mike. It's nice to
I'm not sure where the idea to give Mike sort of a New York-esque accent, you know? Oh, hey, Toby, how you doing? I'm not sure where that came from. I might have heard it from, like, another user video that I watched years ago, and it just kind of stuck in my head.
And he's always eavesdropping. You're the one that's yelling so loud.
Frank's voice, of course, was inspired by the fact that he's old as dirt, according to Mike. And then, what does Bert's voice sound like? I forget what his voice sounds like, but it's probably not the same as Bert or anybody. That didn't make any sense.
Is that the new engine? Yeah, it's Bert. He's just coming back with the passengers. Well, I suppose I'd better go and meet him. Hello there. I'm Toby. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Toby. My name's Bert. So,
yeah, his voice really isn't changed much. He's just kind of like my voice.
Oh, well, if I can think far back, pretty much ever since I arrived. Mike is pretty
much ever since I arrived.
Whenever
I'm laughing at my own lines.
Triggered when someone doesn't do something the Great Western way. I sympathize with fellow triggers. Anyway, my advice is just to hang in there.
I just thought, I don't know, that'd be funny. I sympathize with fellow triggers. Most of my stuff is just kind of simple stuff, you know? Simple humor. Apparently it's wrong to laugh at your own stuff, though. Why is that wrong? I'm gonna laugh at my own jokes if I want to. Like this joke right here.
tucked away in their ship.
I also have to say, I like how I do night stuff. It's different than a lot of other people do. I keep the engines lit up in the foreground, and in the background it's completely dark, so, you know, it's nighttime.
I just don't feel that you
I really use one of my old flashlights to its greatest extent in a later episode in this series. I think it's episode 4 that I use that. Perhaps I'll talk more about that in that audio commentary.
Repeat the rule back.
Self-advertising. Haha.
For Christ's sake, Frank. Give it a rest. It's late, we're all tired, and I'd rather not get into another railway policy debate with you again. Well, why ever not? The last one was so much fun. It was me explaining why I'm right and you're wrong. Such a lively conversation.
Isn't that every political debate, though? Like, coming from a guy who is really into politics and do tweets about it all the time on his Twitter, that's every political argument I've ever gotten involved in. You know, it's me explaining why I'm right and the other person's wrong, and why the other person is right and why I'm wrong. Nobody listens to each other anymore. And that's calling me out, too. Like, nobody listens to me, and I won't listen to anybody else, I guess.
I still hear talking!
Of course, Bert's shed is the waterfall tunnel, because it's the only thing that I have to represent a shed. I didn't have the single stone tunnel at the time of recording this episode.
The next day, the small railway engines were back at it again with
back at it again.
The ballast work. Only
oh, here's before the brown shelf was there, where I kept my tripod. And there's my Wii in the background. Hey, Domeless, I have a Wii. Did you know that?
Goodbye, Bert and Mike. And Bert, keep an eye on Mike. And Mike, always remember the most important rule. Stick it up your tailpipe. Mike
does he have a tailpipe?
To be working with only Bert.
Who knows?
Throughout the day, thoughts of going against the rule that Frank emphasized so vigorously trickled into Mike's funnel. So Mike came to a conclusion. There was only one thing he could do. All right, we get it, dude. Enough with the narration already. Who are you talking to? You can't hear him?
Here comes the part in my series where the genre's turned on its head, where the characters know that they're in a story and they know that there's a narrator controlling their every action. Would that technically qualify as fourth wall breaking, because they're not talking directly to the audience?
Everyone is always a little scared whenever they meet the person narrating everything that happens to them on this island. It's completely understandable, Bert. Please tell me I'm dreaming. Nope. Nope, you are not. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way.
I like that effect, too. I really pulled that off well. The fact that he just, boom, just spurts in and out of existence. Anyway, would that technically qualify as fourth wall breaking? There are a lot of people out there that seem to think that does. I don't know, though. It kind of does. They're not technically breaking the fourth wall, though. I mean, they know they're in a story, but they're not talking directly to the audience. Like, the fourth wall is still there. It's like self-referential inside of the four walls. I don't know. For the sake of argument, I'll just say it qualifies as fourth wall breaking, because I find that funny. I find it funny that the engines know that they're in a fictional universe. They know about the TV series and all that. They know about everything about it.
Let's make this transaction quick. I'm already running late because of Donald's poor skill to wake up early in the morning.
I'm really proud of that Douglas impression I did. Really proud of that. You have no idea how happy I was to pull that off. So while I'm thinking about it, and before the big accident happens, I'll go ahead and tell you guys the inspiration for this episode. This came from a episode of a long dead series called Thomas Battles. If you guys don't know about that series, that was on TWR Community Radio back when that was a thing. And I was on an episode of Thomas Battles where I had to pitch my own Thomas story, I think it was. No, I think the question actually was, who should voice a new character in the Thomas and Friends series? And my answer was James Arnold Taylor as Jock. and I pitched my own Thomas story to go along with that, saying like, oh, Jock and, Rex could get in trouble on the ballast loader and knock it over or something.
Suddenly, the entire loader gave way.
And then that's where the idea for this episode came from.
When the dust cleared, it revealed
I will also give you guys a tidbit about the rest of Remastered Season 1. There were actually supposed to be 2 original scripts used in this season. But I got a bit of a writer's block on the other script, which was... It hasn't been completed, and it probably never will be completed, but it would have followed Thomas and the character of Vinny from The Great Race getting involved in some shenanigans over in a shunting yard.
Mike, I cannot go against...
I don't think I ever got past the first opening 2 scenes, I think, before I realized this concept wasn't going anywhere. But yeah, Trouble at Arlesdale got made, and the untitled episode where Thomas and Vinny meet up and shunt around in a yard never did get made, unfortunately.
What happened here? Well, you see, there was a...
Really proud of that Mike face. He looks so good in that. The suspense of the story, but yeah, fine. Fine, it was me.
He made me leave 4 trucks near the loader, and he threatened to bring the narrator back. Oh, come on, am I really that scary? Well, I suppose the first timers you are.
You can see my tablet there laying behind Douglas. I use that to prop up my camera whenever I'm getting onward face shots of engines and such. Because of the viewfinder, my camera kind of gets off balance if I put it on carpet. So, using it to be level with the track is always a good idea. I keep looking in the background at my black DVD shelf back there and just seeing how the bottom shelf used to be DVDs and how that's changed now, where that entire shelf is Blu-rays. It's kind of amazing to see how much things have changed in the last year.
How much confusion and delay you have caused here today. This has got to be a new record, I swear to God. Sir, does this mean you're shutting down our railway? I'm afraid so, Bert. However, it's only temporary. We can't load...
Like I said in the last commentary, I'm not too big a fan anymore of the Sir Topham Hatt voice I gave to Sir Topham Hatt. I wish this would have been serious. He was actually, angry. That's why I did this in a later episode of this season, or this series. I gave Sir Topham Hatt a more serious voice just to show, the severity of a situation that happened. We'll talk about that in a later audio commentary.
Frank, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you about the trucks, man. It's just, you kept repeating it over and over again, and I just wanted to prove you wrong, that's all. Yes, Mike.
I like this reminiscing scene, too. It shows that, Mike's learned his lesson, and Frank learns that, he might have not been perfect either. Because technically he wasn't. He was annoying the piss out of Mike. If Mike had hands, I'm sure he would have punched Frank right in his ballsack.
No, it's quite all right, Mike. He's actually a pretty cool guy.
And then there's Bert. Bert kind of looks like a baby in that shot there. He looks a little odd.
A few weeks later, the loader was repaired and the engines were back at work again. Bert and Frank switched between handling passengers and working the loader.
I do like this setup, though, for a potential sequel to this episode where Mike has to prove himself to get back, or to get use again out of the rock loader. I don't have any ideas for that, but hey, could be something. Intro shot. There's a shot that was used in the intro. And there's Sir Topham Hatt. If you couldn't see, Sir Topham Hatt was laying back there. He was dead.
And even though Mike hasn't been told he can go on the ballast loader again, I think his talent...
And then we end on a note of semi-hope for our good pal Mike, that he might actually get on the loader again someday, and that shot's out of focus. Oh, man. I'm proud of this episode, though, no matter how much I kind of ripped on it in this commentary. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of all my episodes I've made, except the original ones. Those are bad. Duck as the Great Western Way. I always throw a little, I I guess I always throw a little Easter egg in the credits. Those of you who actually watch the credits. Now, if you did watch the credits for this episode, you know there's an end credit scene, which is a throwback to a very old meme of 2015 fame, when we were engaged in the Reverend James Paul War. This also includes some pretty cool facial animation there with Mike. I got his eyelids to
I noticed that, but Mike,
stay down and move his eyes without them going insane. I'm proud of that.
All right, what is it? Did you know that I have a fan base? Oh God, not this again.
Did you know that I have a fan base? Oh God, not this again. Again, reference to the Reverend James Paul War of an unspecified year. Pretty sure it was 2015. I have a bad concept of time. So that is the audio commentary for Trouble at Arlesdale, my first original script in years. Thank you guys so much for watching. Join me next week when we take a look at the episode that's been memed on the most, especially by my boy Scarlo Irenaeus. Violent Viaduct. Oh boy, that's gonna be a good one. Thanks for watching this week, guys, and as always, good night, everybody.